Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, and welcome to Perspective. I'm just giving the space for you, Doc.
Okay,
You
boom.
say
Let
something.
me. You want me take off with
You
it?
can't. Do you want? Yeah, handle your business. Do your thing.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight on Perspective. We understand that you could be anywhere, but you have decided to spend your wonderful Thursday with us, and we are super appreciative. Now, before we get started, we want to talk about the premise of our show. So, Perspective is a safe tree, it's a safe place. It's where we come and we talk about the different issues and we just share our perspective. Now, I might think something, you might think something else. That doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't mean you wrong. You're wrong. That just means we have a difference of opinion and we can talk about it because guess what? When we talk about it, we can come to a different understanding and we can share knowledge and share experiences. And this is a safe place. So you are free to express yourself how you need to express yourself on Perspective. With that being said, my name is Latoya. I am a licensed professional counselor, aka Chef Jeff's wife, them kids' mama. Chef Jeff also has a show on the BS3 network. The name of his show is This Dope Cooking Show. It comes on Tuesdays at 5:30.
Dope.
Tell a friend to be there. Let's see. I have a podcast, a solo podcast. It's
You
audio
also
only. It's called Say More
right.
About That. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Podbean, because my mama old school and she didn't want to give Spotify her email address. Um,
Wow.
no, for real. So she's old school. So with
Yeah,
that being said, I'm going
yeah.
to
The
allow
title.
my
Yeah.
illustrious co-host to introduce himself. I am going to pass the mic to none other than Mr. E. Butler.
All right. Hey, how y'all doing? As Doc just said, I am E. Butler. That's for Eric Butler, aka the Intellect, aka Cullinan 8, because I'm the biggest diamond ever found on land, and ain't nothing nobody can do about it. Aka the Atlantic, because I'm cold, deep, and choppy. And I've been in talent acquisitions. So people is my thing, connecting. I'm a win-win, the author of Win-Win Circumstances. This has allowed me an opportunity to do I would say career coaching, counseling, in that nature. I'm also out in the community through a nonprofit financial literacy program, an organization called the Empower Series. So definitely go out and check us out at www.empowerseries.com. And then also go to YouTube and look at our YouTube channel, the Empower Series. So, with that being said, I'm happy to be here. Man, and I appreciate my co-hosts. They came through like gangbusters. And y'all don't even know. We just fly like that on the fly. We just, what I'm saying? Some left, right, dribble, with Kyrie Irving mixed in with a little Allen Iverson. And we like that. We like that, man.
Okay, talking about
So, Doc,
Thursday.
what we talking about today? Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
you
yes.
know what I'm saying.
Talking about practice. No,
And let
okay.
me say,
You said Allen
yeah,
Iverson.
hold on. That's good, Doc. This is what I do want to say. This is what I do want to say. I think the topic, and this is why I appreciate my co-host. I appreciate our show. I appreciate our viewers and those who join us on a regular basis and those who comment with us even when they can't be here at this time. This topic and this subject, I think, is very interesting. And and we tend to talk about things that I think are important. We want to open up your mind and think about this. This caused a lot of self-reflection for me. So I'm really excited about the discussion. And we really want you to participate. We definitely want to hear your perspective. We want to understand what your lived experience with it might be. You could enlighten someone. You could open up something for someone to think about and evoke thought. And most importantly, you can let someone know that you shared their experience, and that's healing in it all in its own. And you never know when you can do that. So please feel free to comment, share, respond. This is, like Doc said, this is a safe place. It's a safe tree. So I just wanted to say that because I was excited about this conversation.
So let me give a disclaimer
All right, Doc.
because I like to give a disclaimer before we get rolling. I am a therapist, not your therapist, unless we have paperwork and a payment method in place. Eric and I will be speaking from our education, our background, things that we know, things that we've learned along the way. We are not necessarily talking about our current financial status, okay? Unless we say, currently, this is what I got in my checking account. We are not talking about our current financial status, okay? Let's see. We know that your cousin, sister, homegirl was in the same situation and it worked out so well for her. And we love her and we are excited for her, but we're not talking about her today. Okay. Let's get into it. Let's hit the comments and then we'll get rolling.
All right, let's do it. Ben Sutter the third says you can support BS3 Network by sending stars. Stars help us earn money to continue building the network. Thank you. Shout out to Ben, and as you can see, Ben Sutter the third puts the BS3 in the BS3 Network. Facebook user says, and I know who that is. Bro, I need to set my queen up with the podcast. I'm gonna hit you up, man. You know that's a message that's supposed to be on the back end, bro. We'll talk about that if that's what you want me to do. You know, I got you, but I can't make no promises, and I wouldn't want to say that on the front end. But you put me out in the streets. But now hit me up, man. We'll talk about that. And other than that, hey, this right here is but let me say this so people don't think like I know the queen he talking about, and then it'll be a nod of the head to me too. You know, a nod of the head for sure. Poverty and PTSD, financial trauma, a conversation about financial trauma. So Doc is great at this. She won't allow us to go too far or to go too deep without understanding some definitions and giving us some scope and insight.
Listen, we have to all be on the same page about what we're talking about. Y'all know I love the definition. So when we're saying poverty, we are talking about being in a state of extreme brokenness. We talking about not you got a check coming on Friday and it's gonna clear up all your debts. We talk not your ends barely meeting, like your ends not even looking at each other. We are talking about
the ends ain't meeting at all.
They can't even see each other. That's how broke the situation is. That's what we mean by poverty. So that's poverty. PTSD, and this is a very, very simple definition because PTSD, I could spend a whole show on that, but we won't do that. So it's a simple definition. So PTSD is a mental health condition, and it's how you feel after you've experienced a trauma. So it can include nightmares, flashbacks, irritability, anger, lack of sleep, appetite disturbance, and extra anxiety. It could be a whole thing. So that is a simple definition, right? This is not the end all be all. PTSD started, they started like really studying it when people started coming back from war and they noticed that they were different, but they later found out that it doesn't always have to be war. It could be something else. It could be like getting robbed at gunpoint. Okay, that's PTSD. Trauma. Let me define trauma. Trauma is a distressing event. So one way to think about trauma is there's big T trauma, which means like if anybody experienced this, they're going to think it was traumatic. So like being robbed at gunpoint, being, I don't know, sexually assaulted, being in a combat zone, most people are going to think that that is traumatic. That's big T trauma. Little T trauma is this happens to an individual and everybody doesn't think it's traumatic. So that could be a breakup. It could be moving states. It could be getting fired from your job. So big T trauma, everybody thinks it's a trauma. Little T trauma, it's an individual thing.
Man, that's a great breakdown, Doc. Come on, man. I almost just wanted to clap because that was concise, ideal, and on point. That was good. Because listen, that detail about I'd heard of big T and little T. And then when you gave me the differences on it, and then I love you simplified it for, just for somebody that I needed on that. I need you to break it down for me. So everybody knows the trauma. Just you think it's a trauma.
That's little T.
Is it so an objective Yeah, that's little t. So an objective trauma and then a subjective trauma.
Yeah, we could say it like that too.
Because if everybody's seen it, it's like it's something that's like we seen the car wreck, we know about the robbery, we seen that you witnessed the passing maybe of someone or something tragic. Whereas subjective, like because I know some people they can go through a breakup or lose something and they just be like, oh well, you know what I mean? But if someone really takes it to heart,
People
then
lying.
that's real for them. What you say, Doc?
I be
What
thinking
you
of
say?
people lying. Cause your feelings be hurt when you go through a breakup, even if they not like devastatingly hurt and you not like laying in the bed crying. That's cool, but you feel away. Don't nobody like to be left. You feel away, but okay.
I I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. So, um, man, I hate when I have to do this, man. I was doing some, when you got your stuff prepared and then it don't, do right.
So the way
Goodness
we came up
gracious.
with this
So,
topic,
go ahead.
yeah. So the way we came up with this topic, we were having just a conversation about like what we wanted to discuss with the community, and I think I had made the comment like we don't talk enough about poverty and PTSD, and so where my thought process
Mhm.
came from with that, it is like when you've been poor, that impacts how you see money. It impacts how you interact with money. It impacts like your decision making process. I can remember a time in my personal life, if I had to spend over $50, I would be like shaky because like where's the money gonna come from? And so backstory, I didn't grow up
Mhm.
poor. I didn't get poor till I was grown making bad decisions. Um, but I remember a state of like, I can't spend this money because I don't know like what's gonna happen. Is something gonna happen? We're gonna have an emergency, like what's gonna happen? And that what's gonna happen, that anxiety around spending money is kind of like I see that in my clients now, and I'm just like, man, you gotta do the work to get out of that.
And yeah, even, not just from a financial standpoint, because I would never I would never pass over the fact that, okay, we have to become a better steward and put ourselves in a better position. But we've heard that, but the most important thing is what we're talking about is you got to address that. You got to get over that in your mind. And I think
Mm-hmm.
one way to do that is to really learn more about money, to become
Right.
financially literate. And as y'all know, as I mentioned, I sit on the advisory board for the Empower series. So financial literacy has become a very poignant and important thing to me. I would say I'm nowhere near like being a, financial management or expert or consultant for anyone. Probably could sound like that a way if we had that discussion, but those are things that I learned. And you can learn the information, but it's really developing the discipline to implement those things. I think it takes patience, it takes vulnerability, and then it takes mentorship. So if you really want to turn around, but and I think therapists are important to that because of the trauma that it will cause, like the emotional and psychological, distress. Because and we talked about this, it compounds itself.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say, like, because once you have the trauma and you say you scared to spend the money, do you think that'll be hit? Like if you came into a large sum of money, how would you how do you see that playing out?
So I think it's different for everybody, and I think it's different depending on where you are when you get the lump sum of money, right? Because if you're coming from an emotional place, it's like, oh my gosh, I've never had this much money before. Let me just cash out all the things that I had stuck in my Amazon cart saved for later. Let me buy all that now because I don't know when I'm going to get some more money. The flip side to that is it could be a situation where you like so emotional about it, you like, I'm not going to spend anything because I never had it. Something could go wrong. I don't know. Let me just hold on to it and see what happens. So I think what happens to that
Right.
lump sum is dependent upon the person. That's why we hear about people who win the lottery and then they're broke within a year.
Because they never changed whatever traumas they had or whatever. And then I think it's a combination of trauma from being in poverty and then the lack of knowledge of what to do with that level of money, and
I
you
agree.
end up losing it, because those who know how to make, those who know how to make money, they're going to end up getting the money back. They can give it all to the person who don't know how to make money, or make money for them. It eventually end up back in the hands of the person that it was in to do originally. So, nevertheless, Mr. J. Gilliard in the building, Hey, that's a this dope cooking show. Y'all go check that out. Tuesdays at 5:30. Now, if you don't want to get hungry, eat before you watch the show. If not, when you watch the show, be ready to
Don't
go
be
get
wrong.
something.
Yeah.
I'm not, I can't confirm nor deny that this has happened to me personally, but that's just a recommendation on my end. Facebook here just says some of our financial issues, although we may not have created them, um, yet and still are ours, that we must take ownership of to resolve. Trauma must be considered on I think a granulated scale or graduated scale, depending on what experience we consider normal or familiar. It's subjective. I suffered the five majors simultaneously: a death of child, a
Mm.
divorce, potential terminal illness, natural disaster, incarceration. So my subjective perspective of trauma is more resilient than most others.
Mm. Well, that was deep. I do
Mhm.
agree that I think so. So part of the comment says, we may not have created it. I think it's understood that people that look like us, we kind of coming from like we playing catch up. We coming from a deficit just because
Right.
of systematic racism, oppression, slavery, all the things. And so I appreciate that the comment said like it's our responsibility to fix it. I also am
Mhm.
so like thankful that you survived all five of those things at one time and you are here to tell the story. That is amazing
Mhm.
because that one of those would have took some people out. So shout out to you. Um, and then here's the next comment.
All right. Facebook just says money is the great magnifier. It will make you more of whomever you are.
I agree.
I've definitely heard that. Yeah, yeah. When you have access to stuff, whatever your character or your values and beliefs are, they'll just get expanded, and because you can express them in more ways. That's right. Facebook user says I could give y'all a masterclass on the lottery money issue.
Well, I watched Iyanla Fix My Life because that's my boo. And she was on there with the lady who had won the lottery and didn't have no money. And baby, let me tell you,
And
her
didn't
thought process
wait,
was the
wait. She won
exact
the lottery
same.
and did what?
She was broke. Like she
No,
had bought this extravagant house. She had bought like four
uh,
wheelers and bikes and cars and hood rich type of things. And now she's broke. And it was because she didn't fix
mhm.
her mindset around it. Like she didn't heal her traumas, and she thought that she was gonna buy stuff and feel better. And what people don't recognize is you can have
Right.
a lump sum, but if you're not doing anything to replenish that lump sum, you're gonna run out. It's just that easy. Like it's that simple.
And
If
that,
you're not
yeah, it
putting
kind
money
of
back,
blows my mind, because I
yeah.
think financial literacy really is basic. Yeah, it's one, two, three, and if everybody doesn't already recognize, I think there might be a slight delay between Doc and I on our communication, so that's why we keep. It sounds like we're kind of talking over each other and things like that. So we apologize for that in advance. But to answer you, Doc, I believe that we just a basic we would think basic common sense. Hey, I got a lot of this money. I bought things that need to continue to be paid for. If you have a mortgage and if you didn't buy the house right out, but you still got to pay taxes on it. You still got to pay the bills to keep it cool, keep it warm. You still got to have water coming to it. So if you know that, I don't know how people can get so blind and think, well, this money will never run out. I was just seeing if you was gonna come in. I was pausing. But okay. Facebook user says, y'all would be amazed at all the statistics about the effects of sudden abundance. That's what the study of it is called. Hmm.
I would.
Yeah, yeah. I know I've come across that, and like I said, that's why financial literacy is so important to me, and and it's really renewing. To me, it's more of a journey of a mind renewal, which I think also can be mind healing in that regard. And so when you have, but I mean, thinking about post traumatic stress disorder that's created from financial or from being from poverty, it may be argued. He's kind of like Facebook user was saying. He was like, my, but he said my I've been through a lot, probably much more resilient. So his perspective on it is going to be different. Um, but one of the things, this is what I want to talk about. So Doc, one of the ways that I believe, and you can say, Eric, no, that's not, yeah. Or yeah, that might have some validity. I think about the shame that comes from it. Like I actually think that's trauma causing when people, it could be compounded and go in a lot of different ways. Like when you're shamed, you're afraid to ask for help. Um, you may be seen as a failure. Um, and be ostracized from the group, because
You
I'm
talking
gonna
about when
tell
you're
you
in poverty?
in the realm of men, when it comes to men, say it again.
You saying the shame of like being poor? Is that what you're saying?
Right, right.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm. Which also it compounds the decisions that they make.
So I agree with that. I think that part of the
Yeah, I'm just
shame
trying
is
to delay
because
back.
you can't do like you can't do what other people around you are doing. You don't have the basic necessities, and depending on how poor you are, like what's your hygiene like? What does your hair look like? Are you do you look kept up or not? Because there are some people who are like posh homeless, where like they're homeless on purpose and they like take showers at the gym and like you would never know, like that's a real thing. um and then there are people who are homeless and in poverty because they can't do any better, and so I feel like they're different. And I think we're talking about the people who can't do any better. Those are the people we're talking about. And so I think the shame that comes from that is like people look down on you when you don't have, and what they not telling you is they a paycheck
Hmm.
away from being on the corner with you.
Mm. And- You're exactly right. And furthermore, probably don't realize that. Yeah, that's not a good position to be in. They really think they're in a good position.
And they
Facebook
not.
user says nothing is common. Yeah, right. Nothing is common about the sense of sudden abundance.
Mm.
He said there must be a total re-socialization. Man, you know what? That's real. But this is what I would say. I don't think you and I, either you or I, have, we ain't got the button and the trigger or the resources to really like trigger like whole re-socialization at one point. So what I do is I try to fight the fights I can, like
Mhm.
by individuals or the group of people I'm in. Try to educate them, motivate them, inspire them even to renew their thinking, look at things in a different way, and specifically mostly themselves, and then that'll give them a new outlook on money, what it is, how to use it, and then also give them the resources, the tools, and the information of exactly how to apply this renewed view of self and the things around them. So I agree with you. Like, I mean, I don't think it would, I wouldn't want to say that on the show, like, yeah, let's just burn it all down and start it over. I mean, between me and you, nobody else, I see. I wouldn't trip.
I
And
actually
I think that would
wholeheartedly
probably be
I wholeheartedly agree with this comment. I'm not saying burn it all down, but I am saying scoot away from it, because what's okay. Oof. I feel like if we have been in poverty together and we are used to a certain mentality and we are
Mhm.
used to a certain way of being, and now suddenly I have sudden abundance,
Mhm.
I gotta get away from you or I'm gonna be back right here with you because we're gonna run through it. So I actually agree there needs
Man.
to be a total
Yeah.
re-socialization because I need to be around people who know what to do with this money. I need to be around people who are not afraid to
Mhm.
invest this money. I need to be around people who can teach me, hey, don't go buy the $1 million house because you ain't got but a million. Go get the 300,000, pay cash. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Teach me the game, Ghost. That's what I need to be around. I can't learn that here because this is what we're used to. So I personally agree with this comment
Mm.
100%.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Facebook user says the stigma of so-called being poor negates the impression of being a provider for self or others.
Mhm.
No, no, that's right on point. Like you feel less than a man if you can't provide, if you can't provide, protect, and if you can't provide and protect, ain't nobody gonna listen to you. So you can't really problem solve. No, but yeah, you can't problem solve from that standpoint, and yeah, that becomes an issue. So that deals with a person's pride, their self value, the way that they see themselves, and that's just yeah. Facebook user says sudden abundance has a greater attack factor than addiction. Hmm,
Mm.
interesting.
Say more about that. Because I think what they're saying is like attack factor. Like, are people going to attack you for it? Or are you going to attack yourself? Yeah, say more about that. Because I feel like that
I
could be a
think
really good.
I think yeah, I'm just from my I'm pretty sure he'll respond, but my thought is sudden abundance has a greater attack factor. I think it's more dangerous and impactful and damaging to the person than even addiction is. I'm like, damn, because
Mm.
addiction leads to death. But like, damn. Facebook user
When
says, and
abundance
there is
can
an attraction of uh, yeah, he said, and Facebook user says, and there is an attraction of others who will reinforce every averment of sudden abundance addiction. Yeah, he giving it to us.
Man, they coming through.
Yeah, because
Okay, thank you.
like you said, Doc. Now you said it the best way. Hey, if you want different, you must do different. And I think to do different, you have to be different, and to be different, you need to be in a different space. I have an equation that I keep for myself: environment greater than sign, discipline, will. It's just you can want to do the right thing, or the simple way I would say is environment is greater than willpower. So you may have in mind the things you want to do well, but unless you help create an environment that helps you make the change, it takes time to develop habits and routines, then just set your environment as such, which includes the inclusion or exclusion of people as well, to help you to give yourself a greater opportunity and chance to be successful at said goal or reaching said goal.
So I remember when I used to work in addictions, and I would tell people getting sober is like me picking you up from where we are right now and dropping you off in Japan. There is no way that you are going to stay sober if you keep living where you live in, with whom you're living with, doing the same things that you've been doing. The analogy of me dropping you off in Japan is that you have to learn a completely different language, because sober language and addiction language, they're different. You got to learn new neighborhoods, because if you keep going to the
Mm.
crack house, you're going to smoke crack, like you just are. So you need to
If you
be in a
keep,
different
yeah,
neighborhood. You need to be around people who are doing something different. And so that's why when Facebook user made the comment about re-socialization. I completely agree, because you cannot be different staying in the same. That's why when you send somebody to jail, rehab, or wherever, and they go get healed and they do intensive therapy, the success rate is low because you send them back to the same neighborhood.
Boom.
You can't. I can teach you coping skills. I can teach you relapse prevention. I can teach you all these things. But if I drop you back off in the same environment that made you, the likelihood of your success significantly decreases.
Environment over willpower. Facebook user says, and there is an attraction of others who will reinforce every element of sudden abundance addiction and the impact of it because of their own purposes. But that different space is hard to get to when you have personalities around you that are impacting all five aspects of your mind: will, intellect, creativity, inspiration, and memory. So I think you and Doc just said the same thing. That's exactly right. Yeah, because if you're around the same things, you're gonna get tempted because your environment is more powerful than your willpower.
Say it one
Environment
more time.
is greater than willpower. No, because people be like, no, I'm gonna be all right. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
You might hang on for a month. You might hang on for two. Oh, but about that third month, man. Let something. What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? He just used advertent, and maybe advertent is what he meant. I don't know, but any negative, stressful, triggering thing that happens, man, that's gonna make it even much harder for you to just avoid it. So, your environment greater than your willpower. But no, so Doc, let
One
me
more
ask you
time.
this. So, I kind of mentioned the shame. Yeah, asking for help, being seen as a failure or maybe being ostracized. This is the compounding factor. So what do you think about, like, because when you have limited resources, it gives you limited, we know it equals limited options, and you find yourself being in a situation where you just like you both your decisions are trash and you got to still choose one of them, which I think compounds to the trauma that people experience.
Absolutely, because when people say like rock in a hard place, once you get used to living in rock in a hard place, your decision making is now skewed. It's skewed toward, well, let me just choose the lesser of the two evils. Well, let me just choose. Well, let me just choose. And when you feel like you don't have a lot of options, you start to behave and you start to produce from a place of lack, and from a place of like, I don't have a lot of options, so let me just throw this together real quick. Whereas if you could see out of the poverty, or if you could see options that weren't so limited and it wasn't so rock in a hard place, then you would be better, and it would just kind of help propel you forward quicker.
Agreed. And I think another element of that is the impact that it makes. Um, I think for opportunities outside how you're viewed, because if you only have two bad choices and they're going to be negative, and you're consistently having to choose between two bad things, if someone who is not intimately related to the circumstances and understand what options you did or did not have, you will be pegged as someone who makes bad decisions. It's like, no, I'm not
Right.
making bad decisions. I'm limited on the decisions that I can make. They're all bad. If I'd have went left or did it different, it would have still been a bad direction to go that I was allowed to go. And that, I think that can create issues and more trauma if your husband or your wife now looks at you as inept or incapable. Your children maybe lack of respect and not listening to dad, or family members maybe ostracizing you a little bit because they're like, man, he constantly making this and this bad decision, but don't know intimately what other options you had. And so that compounds the trauma. Um, I think these may be, I don't know, these may be little T's or big T's. I think they're little T's. That's how they would be described, but yet and still I think it's trauma. But what about if you have 5 to 6 little T's? Does that equal a T?
I don't know that you add them up to get to a big T. I think you just have 5 or 6 little T's. But I do think after experiencing so many little T's, so many big T's or whatever, I think it just changed. Well, I know it changes who you are as a person because trauma impacts your brain and your brain pathways and all of that. So after having so many, like let's say you experience
Wow.
5 little T traumas, right? At the age of 12, then by the time you're 15, the person that you would have been without those traumas, you're not going to be that person. So it just kind of changes who you are at a core level because that's how
Oh,
you
so it
start to see
really
the world.
reshapes the yeah,
Yeah.
it really reshapes your whole being actually. Like the
Hmm.
person that you know because they grew up in poverty will not even be fully the person that they were. And another aspect of that is so in some research they talked about, like, I think, is it 85 to 95% of your brain is developed in the first 3 years of life.
5.
95%.
The first 5 years are the most important.
Oh, the first 5 years.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. First 5 years. Think about being raised in an environment where those that are responsible for you do not have the baseline necessities to not be triggered and experiencing a bunch of little T's, or even maybe some, I think, big T's, like
Hmm.
crime, maybe losing, having, like, getting evicted. I consider that a big T, and not knowing where you have to go, that can be very traumatic. And so just a child who may not get the direct abuse, but they're feeling the trauma through the environment that they're in.
I mean, but you can go even deeper than that because epigenetics tells us that trauma is in your DNA. And so if there is a time in your life where like your grandmother, for women, your grandmother, she can be pregnant with your mom, but your mom's eggs have already been formed. So there's a moment in time where like the grandmother has 2 generations in her body. And so if she's experiencing trauma, that trauma hits her baby that's in her womb, but it also hits the little baby's eggs of a baby that ain't even here yet. So if you are coming from a place of poverty and your grandmother was in poverty and then your mama did a little bit better but not too much, you have a lineage of trauma in your DNA that you didn't even like ask for. And it's not, I mean, it just is what it is. And so then that impacts how you see the world, how you do life. And then imagine being that same child that you described and then experiencing homelessness or being evicted or something like that. That's where it starts to compound at.
That's trash, doc.
And
That's
that's how I felt when I learned about it
I
too.
I man, I'm like, God Almighty, but you can't win for losing. It's like, no, you're finna go through this. So when they talk about them generational curse breaking, it really be some, like,
It's a
yeah,
real thing.
it's three mamas deep. And then, typically people from the same environment tend to connect. So then you got this 3 generational, what you call it, energetics,
Epidemic.
3D. They already precursor for epigenetics. They're already precursor for the issue. Then they're going to meet somebody who's going through the same type of trauma, or the accumulation of all of these little T's, and then they get together. They already got it in their genes, and they finna double. They finna double dose, double dunk Shaquille O'Neal on this embryo with all of this DNA full of trauma.
Mm.
That is trash, doc. That's so sad to think about.
Yes, that like so when I learned about that, because sometimes I have people come to me and they like, I don't know, I just I just get sad when I hear this song, or I just get sad when the wind blow this way, and I have no idea why. And so like I had to phone a friend, like, girl, I don't even know what to tell this person, blah blah blah. She was like, bet, because my friend is a doctor or whatever, and she was like, you need to look this up,
Okay.
let me shoot you this link. And that could be why. Like you could be sad and not know why just because it's in your DNA.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
That's I can't win.
Well, I don't think
I
it's
can't
a not. I don't think it's a
win.
you can't win. I think it's about like you have to be aware of it and then put your tools in place because you can absolutely win. Like I don't have to be sad when I hear
Bruh.
Marvin Gaye because you were sad. Like I can do something about that.
Bruh. Therapy should be automatic. It should be mandatory
I've
single
been
birth.
telling people that, but whatever.
Listen, let's work on them early. Let's try to get some of the epigenetics up out of there. Let's shake it up. Let's prepare them because it's in there. It's in there. Your mama's, your daddy's. Come on. And then we wonder,
Comments.
and man, this right here is helping me take a look at, like, because we see certain generations do things, and we're just like, what in the world is going on? This right here, what you just explained, gave me such a different outlook. It's like they're doomed to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Like why in certain environments is it so bad? Is because they don't even know what's wrong with them. Like, I don't know why I'm upset. I don't know why I'm sad. I don't know why I'm so angry. Why I'm so anxious. I'm just anxious all the time. Who's thinking about studying? Who's thinking about any of those things? And then on top of that, the reality of your life lacking just lacking the resources to live comfortably within the society that you're in, which is also hyper socialized on media and stardom. And if you ain't got, if you, and your money is your value, it's so dangerous. Facebook user says limited resources creates trauma when you apply the behaviors to a perspective of scarcity. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Yeah, but I what I would say to that is, right now we're kind of learning, like, man, it depends on who's going to think of that. Like, unless you're in an environment where there's money and that type of conversation is discussed, or you're given some type of example of how to formulate, not take things a certain way, then they're going to miss the boat. You know what I mean? They can just take it day by day and as it comes.
I also don't know that people who
Facebook
have
user
a
says
scarcity
limits.
mindset, that's the same one. I also don't think that people who have a scarcity mindset recognize that they have a scarcity mindset. I think they live in a place where resources are limited. And so all they know is like, give me, I got to get mine. I don't even know that they have the bandwidth to think, oh, I am operating from a place of scarcity. Because if we think about like, older generations and therapy and stuff like that, they ain't have time to worry about their feelings. Like they had to get it done. We trying to keep the lights on. We trying to go back even further than that. We trying to work in this field so that we don't get beat to death. We don't get hung. Like ain't nobody got to talk about your feelings.
Now they
so
would
then
not die because, like, man, if we don't do what we supposed to, we come, and then you constantly thinking, are they gonna come get my wife or my husband or one of my kids and take them out somewhere? Oh, it's in the womb, and the epigenetics is in play. Come on, man. I wish I'm not gonna sleep.
Well, my point just was, I don't know that they had the capacity to know that they was in a scarcity mindset. Because if you think about how now everybody's like, yeah, my therapist said, but we have time, space, and the privilege to go to therapy. a generation ago, like
Mm-hmm.
even from my own family, if I think about my mom, my mama didn't have space-time capacity, and my daddy for sure didn't have space-time capacity or the money, let's be clear, because therapy is not free. But they didn't have the just a generation ago, they didn't have that. Whereas my daughter has a weekly therapy appointment now
Just a
that they pay college.
generation ago.
So things change. I mean, like, I just don't know that people know that they operate from a place of scarcity. But anyway, next comment.
I'm gonna let you read that one, Doc.
Facebook user says little t's must be addressed individually. They are not compounded until the sum total of all parts are deposited at one full stop position, because you actually can drop pieces off at different stages incrementally. I can go with that. I think depending on the purpose, like we can address each one as we go. We can go to therapy. We can do some EMDR. We can do what we got to do, and we'll be fine. I'm gonna say okay. I'm gonna go with that. Thank you, Facebook user. You want me to keep?
That's my boys. Now I say it's like the song, "The Scarecrow," Michael Jackson sang on the Wheels. You can't win. Yeah, if y'all ain't seen that, I kind of hit that. I hit that good enough. Y'all would give me kudos. Y'all go watch
Come on, you hit your note. Come on.
it. Facebook user says there is a definite shock created between moving from survival to abundance without re-socialization. It's like the sonic boom. Yeah, it is definitely a swing of being overwhelmed, under ignorant of how that's supposed to go, and it's almost like a recipe for automatic L standing for loss.
It's like being a fish out of water. Like, you don't understand how the wealthy or how the other people live until you're in that environment. It's like, oh no, we don't do that. Oh no, we hold our hand like this. Oh no, whoa, you got those shoes on. Like, it's a completely different experience. And I can even say, like, coming from working in community mental health to working in tech to working in private practice, how the therapists handle themselves is completely different. In community mental health, poverty, it's like work, 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 work. All we do is work, 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 work. But then the higher up you go, like even in private practice, my friends be like, girl, I only see 4 people a day. I'm like, we were seeing people like every 30 minutes for 8 hours in community mental health. What you mean? And so it is a complete shock. It's a complete shock to how the other people live. And you like, whew, this what y'all over here doing? So
Wait, we can't just pass that by. Doc said, because you gave a real depiction of what they looked like when you told them what you was doing, and they was like, "We just do for like how, who, and what for." That
listen,
tickled me.
and then my other
That
homegirl
tickled
who works
me.
in the community mental health center with me, we worked in the same place, had the same requirements. She went to private practice way before I did. But when I finally got there, she was like, why you still stacking your calendar like that? Sis, because that's all I know. Teach me. She was like, we don't do that here.
See the
No.
coaching. You were just moving from one. You're in the industry. You was moving from one space of how the industry worked just to another one, and somebody you was like, teach me, show me. You going from I have no money, the ends don't touch. Even when I grab one end and stretch my arm over, I
They still
can't
didn't
even
touch.
hold the ends together. Is nothing is meeting to boom. Now you have all this money. You need to be like, somebody teach me. Like they shouldn't even give you the money, but they already know it'll end up back in the hands of the ones that gave it in the first place. That's funny. That's funny. So even with you understanding, you need to, hey, I'm making a transition. Hey, give me some pointers, give me some tips. But
Yeah, I
that
don't
but
mind
that
asking.
goes to what Facebook. Yeah, that's what Facebook user was. Why I keep saying Facebook user? I don't know. It's Jason.
I don't know.
Everybody,
Because it's they
remember
Facebook
that.
use.
Yeah, Yeah, I know now that's my fault because I was just keeping it kosher. But um, Jason, like Jason was stating, um, now I'll leave it alone. Mr. J. Gilliard says, you hit your note. Jason said, the swell of that of that boom is the recipe, especially provided for a person being taken advantage of by anyone with advanced knowledge. This, yeah, yeah,
I hear that, and I feel like
yeah.
there's no way around it though. Like, I'm gonna be taken advantage of in poverty because you're gonna be trying to make me do something strange for a piece of change because I need a loaf of bread, or I'm gonna be taken advantage of by the financial planner who's gonna skim my money off the top, but at least I have a little bit left. Um, so I would take my chances. If
And
I had like a swell, I'm gonna pay somebody. I'm not gonna ask for a handout. I'm not gonna ask, hey, I know you got a lot of money. Can you help me? No, I'm going to pay somebody because at least then they are more than likely to do right by me because they're getting money.
well, I know Jason's probably going. He already typing because the people. I mean, people who are not. The only way you not gonna get the money taken from you is to pay someone to teach you about the money. That's
That's
this
what I
my
said. I'm gonna pay
opinion.
somebody.
Pay
That's what I said.
someone.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then, yeah, we on the same boat. Then there we go. My bag, and forgive me. I thought you were saying pay somebody to manage my money or something like that.
Mm-mm.
But paying someone to educate
To
you
teach you.
on what to do
Yeah.
and how to do.
Right.
Yeah. That's what's up right there. That's what's up. Uh, I want to make sure that that's him. I don't want to keep saying
Facebook
Jason.
user
I'm
says,
like, bro,
but you
that
can't
wasn't me.
imagine how resistant folks are to information. What you mean? You mean like people don't want the information, or people don't want to budget, or what you mean? Education costs time, energy, experience, and expertise. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm just pretending I got that swell. Like, I'm saying if I hit the lottery and I had millions on millions on millions, then I'm gonna pay somebody to teach me how to manage it so that I don't have to work again and that I'm not poor. And if I got the millions on millions, I got time and energy because I quit. I'm about to go learn how to navigate my money.
Yeah. Like this full-time class every day. Finance economics
Oh, what?
101. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it. Like let's get it. Man, I don't know. That's all kind of ideas. I'm gonna keep them to myself. Yeah, that's Jason. Jason says they want you to tell them in a second what took years to learn. But shoot,
Well, if I got millions
no, you
on
know
millions,
what?
I got time.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, I'm gonna pay you. I'll pay you for your knowledge. That's a key action. Um, and we can discuss a fair trade, but I feel you. Yeah, you can't be giving that out for free. Jason says help is not the same thing as advice. Mm,
I'm gonna
I
go with
don't
that.
know. I think that's debatable.
I think
I
it
think
depends
it's
on
debatable
what your definition is.
because
As with
help,
most,
because if I've received some advice that was very helpful to me, so I just see them similar, more similar than not. But I respect that position on it though.
so I don't know. I think I kind of go with it because I feel like I help people every day, and I don't necessarily give advice. I don't necessarily say,
Cool.
"Hey, go do
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4," but I'm usually like, "Hey, what would your life look like if we did this?" Or I frame it differently. I'm not in the business of telling people what to do, but people tell me that I'm helpful, so I can kind of go with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I have helped someone without giving them advice. But have I ever given advice without helping someone? Probably. So, okay. Unsolicited advice, I would imagine.
And I don't do that no more either. People be tripping.
No, I
You got
no, I
gotta
you
ask
know, I'm
me.
guilty of it. Yeah, I may be thinking I'm helping, but that's not the way to approach it. I would say that's an ongoing effort in my world. But I am better. I will tell you, I am better. I am better. Um, lastly, Doc, when we talk about, and I just want to, you got several things. You got, the self devaluation that we talked about, a broken spirit, like emotional scarring that occurs from this. No, I saw your face. Yeah, okay, I'm still on. So, how do you feel like the PST? How much weight would you put on it? Because I know we don't have a lot of time. Would you put on the intersectionality of crime, violence, and the destruction of the community onto that?
Onto poverty, I would say I would put a lot of weight on it because I don't know that. I mean, of course, there are some people who are just bad people, right? But I think the overwhelming majority, like, if I'm hungry, I may commit a robbery. If you get in the way of me committing a robbery, that could turn into murder because I got to get these diapers for my kid. Like, I feel like poverty has a lot to do with the crime, but I also feel like that's by design. But we could talk about that offline. We can get into this comment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Jason says help carries an inherent responsibility to be, or at very least, get involved. Advice excuses the obligation to assist with recovery if it doesn't go right. Okay. You chewing on that,
I
Doc?
like that word, substrates.
Substrate. He said violence and crime are substrates, okay, of confusion.
I think they substrates of poverty. Cause I mean,
Doc, I think poverty can listen. This is think about it. Well, there has been people that were impoverished that I think the poverty can lead to that, but I was thinking more it causes the poverty causes the trauma, but it's the trauma that creates the violence and the responses that individuals impart. And so I'm thinking about, I've known some very poor people, but they weren't violent per se, or they didn't really attack or tear up their poor communities.
I
They
could say
seem
the
to
same
be
for people who
okay.
experience trauma though. Like
So
I
I'm
know
thinking
people
it's
who've
more
been
the
through a lot
trauma
of
and
trauma. I know people who've been through a lot of trauma
yeah,
and
that don't respond that way.
yeah.
Hmm. Maybe I think they just ain't let it out. They be holding on
Uh-uh.
for a better day.
I don't know that one.
And Jason says poverty is yeah, yeah. I made every word of that one up. Yeah. Jason says poverty is a state of physical being where confusion is a state of metaphysical mind.
Okay. I'm with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I'm
like I
gonna go
said,
with that.
Doc, we at the end of the hour.
We are at the end of
Hmm.
the hour. So, first of all, shout out to Facebook user for holding it down in the comments. We definitely appreciate you. We definitely recognize that you can
Absolutely.
be anywhere, but you were here with us. So, thank you so much for that. Please, 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 please like, comment, subscribe, share, like, comment, subscribe, share. Tell a friend, share the replay, comment later. Eric is in charge of all of our Facebook communication and he will hit you up. He will hit you back. He holds it down in our Facebook group, and I am so thankful. I do our Instagram, so that's where I am. We have a YouTube channel coming soon. So like, comment, share because that matters in this space. What else you got?
just thank you, Jason, for sharing. Shouts out to you, man, and get with me, answer any questions you have, see what's up, and yeah, I just like I've seen Jason put in action like this, and he really not just sitting up saying something. We've kind of had some conversations around this, so he has some really strong points and opinions about that. And what I love about it is he and I don't always agree, but we always walk away with a better understanding from both ends, in a respectful way. So I love it, man. I appreciate you being here tonight, brother. He says, I I be having a council mug while fixing drinks, food, and cigars. He say the lounge is coming back. I hope so, brother. I hope so. That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
All right.
All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
Doc. Say, next Thursday, um, we like Doc just said, man, share, like, subscribe, comment, send us any information. Go look for us, our presence on all of the social media sites. Support BS3 Network. Go check out some of the other shows on there. And most importantly, on Tuesday at 5:30, this dope cooking show. I just want y'all tell me if I'm just just hyping it up because it's my co-host. Like she say, her man, her man, her
My
man.
man, my
But no,
man,
I'm
my
telling you like
man.
no, but I'm telling you like for real though. It's like for real though. Like for real though. And it's always a good time, man. I love that brother. So anyway, we'll see y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Let us know if you need anything. Holla at us. All right.